Boom! Bang on 9:30. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we all? Mark Oakerby. Morning all. I think I've seen your name before. Jane Bentley. Lee Hedgens. Yeah, I dropped in on Lee's live after it had been uploaded. Isn't he great? Isn't he funny? What a giggle. How are we all? Nanny Di was on the live last night reviewing I Hate Susie. I don't know if you're watching that. I know someone said, someone commented last night, it's getting lots and lots of good reviews. That's true. But I do think sometimes, the reviewers or critics are sometimes desperate, aren't they? They're desperate for something to be right. I mean, I get that, don't you? You sort of think, oh, I'm looking forward to this. And then you spend sometimes the first 10, 15, nothing worse than the first 10, 15 minutes you spend watching something. And you're going, yeah, come on, be good. And then just that sort of, it's like something catches up with your heart and says, oh, it's not that great. I really like the first episode. I just think it's gone a bit samey and it's a bit shocking for shocking's sake. Anyway, Nikki Burton, hello. Sarah Randall, Sarah Elliott, Paigey, Miss One Trisha, Nicholas Sinnott, Tina Davies, Raspberry Mojito Girl, December 1982. Do you like that name? Gabrielle, how are you, darling? Anastasia Alexander, Nikki Burton, Jane Bentley, Elaine Hewings, Shara Louis, Kaz Seddon, Shirley Finlayson. How are we all? How are we all? Just turning this phone off so I can be concentrated on you guys. Anne-Marie Roy, Annie Blue, Batsy Owl. I will say hello to your boy. He goes to school today. He would go to school today, but because of bullies. Hello to Batsy Owl's boy. Do not worry about bullies. There are ways around them, and there are ways of getting past all of that stuff. We had to deal with bullying, and it's horrendous. It's horrendous. Stay at home, stay safe, and have fun. And try not to worry about tomorrow. Try and enjoy today. Ellen Jones, good morning. Nikki Burton. Thank you guys. So many of you reacted very positively to the message. It was World Suicide Prevention Day yesterday. And I uploaded an image and some thoughts on how we should spare a thought for, what you see, how you look is not how you feel. It's a little bit like that thing where they say feelings aren't facts. It's a good one, isn't it? Remember that, feelings aren't facts. If you're feeling fear, dread, worry, concern, or upset, you'll be feeling those things for real, but they're not based on fact. And sometimes that just takes the heat out of your emotions. Ashley Gardner, the balloons are still standing, even though I keep breaking my neck on them every 6 seconds. Nicholas Sinnott, thank you very much, Nicola. Miss One Trisha, are you counting the hours until Nadia's back? Well, I kind of am, and I'm kind of not. I'm sleeping deeply, waking up early, but sleeping deeply. So I've missed Nads, of course, but I've really, really liked getting back into my sleeping. The idea that it's always my coffee that keeps me awake isn't true. Even Kiki said she can hear Mum snoring from her room. Jill Lister, does Nanny Di live in Southwark Council area? It's a very specific question. No, she doesn't. April Hill, yes, same here. That's right, I don't know what your answer to. Nicholas, and did we see Diana Rigg, sadly, died yesterday? Diana Rigg of, not the Avengers, the Marvel Avengers, but the TV Avengers, with Patrick, was it Patrick McNee? I really liked him. Diana Rigg, she was very cool, wasn't she? She was very, very cool role model from that generation. She died at the age of 82 of cancer. Ross Donnelly, I'm so sorry, I lost your father to suicide in 1987. Yeah, and I think one of the points I was trying to make on that post, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. One of the things I wanted to say, I was keen to sort of add to the conversation, was that, addiction and alcoholism can often be, not always, but can often be a symptom of self-harm and, a sort of, can easily evolve into suicidal tendencies. And I was looking at some of the press around the World Suicide Prevention sort of, around the charitable work specifically dealing with that. And some of the stories were specifically around the fact that, addiction and alcoholism, curious that the government promotes drinking stupid amounts of alcohol as a way of coping with a crisis. Because, of course, the problem is, for most people, it's just coping with the crisis in the short term. But for some, and always a percentage, and this is the thing, there's always a percentage, it becomes the way of coping with something. And then, of course, what it encourages you to do is behave compulsively and impulsively when under the influence. So I'm a great believer that, years ago, we were trying to get a series away at the BBC called, because there's a saying in AA called the true cost of a drink, meaning you might spend, I don't know, £2.80 on a pint, but actually the cost of that drink in the wrong person's hands and in the wrong person's body is so much more than £2.80. And we wanted to sort of tot it up, because if you look at most circumstances of, not all, but many circumstances of violence, sexual assault, infidelity, and all the costs that come with splitting homes, divorce, access with kids, so many things, violence on Friday nights, and then, of course, all the chronic health issues. The true cost of alcohol, and the damage it does to society, will be far in excess of the damage that COVID's done. Believe me, it is, and it will. Anne-Marie, alcohol is the cover for underlying problems. So I think on Suicide Prevention Day, sometimes we think of suicide in the abstract, just as a moment where someone stands on a bridge. It doesn't present itself like that, and I think that was what I was trying to get across. However you look, you can be happy, you can be fine, but you cannot feel fine at all. You can feel that I often feel down, and I look down and I'm absolutely fine in my terms. But, a lot of people do not present suicidal tendencies standing on Waterloo Bridge, though that too can happen. So anyway, thank you for all of your comments. Denise Nelson Gale lost a lovely colleague to suicide who was an alcoholic, always reached out to him and supported him, but did not see it coming. And and that's the other tragic side of it all, isn't it? Is however much you do, however much you reach out, however much you help. Keith Flint is another one. There's always that feeling left behind after a suicide of what more could we have done. And the important thing to know is, as long as you can, make a sort of soulful inventory of your behaviour and know that you didn't contribute to it in a sort of, malicious way or anything like that. I'm talking about, people, those terrible stories you hear of people online encouraging people. As long as you know, and the vast majority of people haven't contributed to it, there is little you could have done, bar reach out the hand of friendship and kindness. Oh yeah, of course, 9/11. It is 9/11 today, isn't it? It's good God, this was a huge day back in. This was just horrendous, wasn't it? Back in 2000 and. Was it in 2002? I think it was 2002. Or was it 2001? No, I'm trying to remember. When did me and Nadia meet? No, we had Maddie in 2002. 2001, yeah. I remember vividly where I was. I was in a car driving back from Blackpool, having just filmed with Nadia. It was probably a couple of weeks prior to me and Nadia hooking up. And I remember it the story breaking on the radio. I was listening to the radio as I was driving back from Blackpool down to Bristol. It was just catastrophic, wasn't it? Words cannot even begin to express what we were seeing. So all of our hearts go out to New York today, because of course one of the interesting statistics that when me and Maddie went to Ground Zero, through television and everything, me and a number of friends at the time had a colleague who sadly passed away in the Twin Towers. We went to Ground Zero, and one of the interesting statistics about 9/11 is that more people, I think now, have died after the event through inhalation and principally with the fire rescue services, the emergency services, subsequent to 9/11 than in the actual catastrophe. And when you go to Ground Zero, I don't know if anyone has been, it didn't feel appropriate for me and Maddie to film there when we were there. We took some photos. There's a section which is a sort of slope, which was the former escalators and stairs coming out of the World Trade Center down to ground. And the heat was so hot that the stairs had just melted. It's just like a flow of just melted molten rock. And weirdly, I'd been on the viewing station of, I can't remember which of the Twin Towers it was on, but I'd been sat on the viewing station probably only about 6 months before it happened, watching the sunset. Very evocative. My first ever shot that I ever filmed in New York was on the Staten Island ferry, pulling into Manhattan with the Twin Towers. It was the first ever shot. I've got it somewhere. Mark, can you please review The Last Narc on Amazon Prime? I'll have a look. I don't know what that is. Yeah, absolutely. It's time for Nads to buy some anti-snore gum. Okay, so yeah, so thoughts and memories go out to 9/11, victims, families of people who know people who were sadly affected by that. And a thought for everyone for whom, you know, World Suicide Prevention Day kind of kicked up thoughts, memories and feelings. So first story today is an odd one. Is anyone looking at the title thinking, why is Pringles tubes in the title? Pringles. Once you pop, you cannot stop. Who likes Pringles? Who's a Pringles junkie? I have to confess, well, if I start, I can't stop, but the girls love them. Oh, Monica Smith, some positive news. NHS, SLT, and I'm back in schools. Staff doing an incredible job. Sound of children playing is the best in the world. Oh, good. That is lovely. Oh, yeah, look, that made me hungry. Pringles, yes, yes, yes. Cheese and onion. What's your flavour? Okay, give us your favourite flavour. So the vast majority of people are. What's your favourite flavour of Pringle, guys? Ooh. Yes, they are addictive, aren't they? I think it's the MSG that's in them. Sour cream, same in this household. Cheese and onion, Pearl Murphy. I've never tried them. Salt and vinegar. But the salt and vinegar, they virtually tear your tongues off, don't they? You know, I mean, the thing about salt and vinegar, it's a bit of a masochistic flavour, isn't it? You're eating it for the pain and agony. I quite like the paprika. Does anyone else like the paprika? Barbecue, if you're there. Steph Coleman, Mumsy 4. Jane Bentley, helicopter flavour. That's a good flavour. Cheese and onion, the red one. Peri Peri, Vicky. Paprika, Cornish cream. You're with me. I like the paprika. Prawn cocktail. Does anyone like the prawn cocktail ones? Shout out to Paigey. Barbecue flavour, salted. Pringle. Maureen Fox, why did you say those two words? Pringles sandwich. Oh my God, that's going to curse me all day. It's going to be like, you know, in the Tom and Jerry cartoons when you have a little devil on one shoulder and a little angel on the other, and the angel's going to be going, don't eat it, and the devil's going to be going, eat them. Well, here's the thing about Pringle pots, Pringle tubs. Do you want to know the deal? Pringle tubes are a recycling nightmare. Apparently, they are the worst the worst culprit when it comes to recycling. It's a complex construction with a metal base. I often think this, when I'm sometimes standing over, because I like to be the self-appointed recycler, when I'm standing over the bins, okay, you take the plastic top off, you put that in plastics, and then you look at the kind of tin foil bit, and then you look at the metal bit, and then you look at the cardboard bit, and you think, where do I put it? So it's a complex construction with a metal base, plastic cap, metal tear-off lid, and a foil-lined cardboard sleeve. So the Recycling Association has dubbed it the #1 recycling villain. Villain. So Fiona Reid, you cut the metal base off. So yeah, that innocent looking tub, the pot that once you start, you can't stop. Anyway, so the Pringles makers, 90% of the new can that they're developing is paper, and 10% is a barrier to protect the food against oxygen and moisture. So that's why. So don't you also find that when you touch the side of it, it has a sort of almost plasticky sheen to it, doesn't it? So what do you think about that? Definitely a bad design, Mumsy. I'm hungry now. I'm really hungry. Sounds about right. I love you, my heart, Mark. Oh, thank you, Jacqueline Frost. Redo the packaging. They are redoing the packaging. They're trying to redo the packaging. But it's funny, isn't it? It's funny, those things that... It's those Sophie Spielberg sending all of our love, darling. 3 days ago, I found out my mum had cancer just 6 weeks after I was hospitalised, still suffering with after effects. I've got no idea. Oh, sweetie, it really is one of those situations. Take each day, each minute as it comes. Talk to friends, change your location as much as you can. I know if you're not feeling particularly well, open a window, call a friend, structure your day. Say, you know what, I'm going to have half an hour of music. I'm going to watch a television show there. I'm going to try and that's so tough, sweetie. Sending all of our love and all of our support. Chicken dinner is happening tonight, Miss One Tricia. Chicken dinner's happening tonight. I've got a great big chicken. I have to confess, the last few days, these days this week have gone frighteningly quickly. Frighteningly quickly. I'm endeavouring to do something down here, re-tidying, but yeah, really, really tricky. Hi, Sandra Lupson. So Pringles tubes, spare a thought. I often stand there over the recycling bins looking like that, not really knowing what on earth to do. So this might cheer you up, Chloe Williams. Everyone's banging on about Scotland striving for independence. Guess what? The Shetland Isles wants independence, and I thought this was a funny story. Shetlanders are moving towards independence from Scotland. Now, the Shetland Islands, I filmed there once. I mean, God, it's such a nice escape. It's like literally, it's like being in Lord of the Rings. But they're pushing for independence away from Edinburgh and London. Councillors there have overwhelmingly backed a motion to find ways of achieving financial and political self-determination. They have a population of over 20,000. They're famous for their ponies, sheepdogs and woolly jumpers, but they do have access to huge oil fields and lucrative fishing waters, so they could potentially sustain themselves. Now, what I think's funny about this is that weirdly, I believe in the union. On the one hand, I believed in Europe as a kind of mission, the idea that we should all work more together, but I am a big fan of national identities. Do you know what I mean? I do like cultural difference. I think one of the problems with nationalism is that it kind of tries to aggressively hold on to your own identity and sort of suggest it's better than others sometimes. But I think the great thing about Europe is that Spanish are Spanish and French are French, and that we have our little ticks and our little cultural specificities. But then there is a part of me that thinks, like with the Union, if Scotland and Wales, if everywhere goes for independence, how far can you take that thought? So, of course, a lot of Cornish people are very keen on Cornish independence. But how far can you take that thought? Could London declare independence? And if you allow it to keep happening, do we end up becoming more and more fractured and more unmanageable, and in a sense, more and more split? So there's the Scottish issue, but then I wonder how Scotland feel about Shetland, because I suppose for Scottish independent people who want to be independent from England, presumably you have to be all right with this if Shetland feels the need or desire and they democratically want to leave. Should we always allow every population of a region, however small, if they want to declare independence, to have it? But surely that way kind of chaos resides, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? I think we often talk about nationalism, we often talk about independence, but we don't really follow the logic of it right through. Because in the end, you end up just being completely fractured. But I just thought it was fun. So, the Shetland Islands used to belong to a sort of Viking peninsula. The islands became part of Scotland only after the King of Norway failed to pay a dowry of the dowry of his daughter when she married James III of Scotland. Isn't that interesting? They were once part of a Nordic Norse empire, and the Vikings used them as bases for attacks, and they remained under Norwegian rule until 1472. See what I mean? Part of me wants to go up there and film their fight for independence, but it might be very, very boring. because it might just be like counsellors sitting around a table. Do you know what I mean? These are good. Sometimes you get great ideas on paper for a documentary, and then you go up there and it's like, yeah, we've got a board meeting. Oh right, is this it? Yeah, and I want to see Shetlanders running across fields like was it Highlander? No, Braveheart. I mean, I'm fascinated by the whole Scottish, English. I just wish we could all live in harmony and yet really heighten our sort of regional differences. Like, you know, like Wales is Welsh, Cornwall is Cornish, you know. But I do worry that if we all fracture off, I mean, imagine if London decided it wanted to go off on its own. It would screw the rest of the country up. I mean, I'm not saying it should be like that, but it would, wouldn't it, financially? Gabrielle, we aren't behaving like a United Kingdom spiritually or politically. Yeah, I don't know. I saw the headline, Shetlanders strive for independence. And on one level, I thought, well, that makes a mockery of all independence. And then on another level, I thought, I want to be in Shetland and I want to be there now. Independent. So, the law of 6 kicks in on Monday. Are we all excited about that? I wonder how Nadia's going to take to that news. She's already, I mean, I worry about the girls and all of this stuff's impact on the young. We talked about it yesterday, didn't we? Blaming the younger generations. I mean, it's creeping through, isn't it, in the papers and in the news, the sort of generational resentment of blame, the blame game and all that kind of stuff. But on Monday, it becomes law. Mental Marky was sad last night. He looked lost, didn't he? Just found him down a hole. The law of 6 kicks in, and I'm curious to know, how do you think they're going to enact it quite strictly? Yes or no? Do you think they're going to be like walking up to groups of people in parks and going, you're fined? Do you think they're going to enact it severely? What do you think? Hit the thumbs up, guys, if you're enjoying watching me have a coffee, gibbering like an absolute nutcase. Hit the thumbs up icon, guys. Come on, baby. Get us to 150. Morning, Xander. No, you don't think they are. Yes, people need to stop being daft. I'm a family of 6. Yeah, this is a curious one. So, for example, here's the thing. Okay, let me ask a question. Let me give you those balloons are like nipple tassels. Let me give you a scenario. So, Izzy and her boyfriend wanted to meet us for a get-together, just normal family get-together next weekend. She and him coming from one bubble, coming into our family. But if she and him come and Nanny dies here, there's 7 of us. Is that allowed? It's not, is it? Is that allowed? We have to either say to Nanny Di not to come, or what? Could be difficult for Christmas, exactly. They're not allowed to come, are they? Yes. Are they allowed to come? Sorry, I should have rephrased the question. Yes or no? Are they allowed to come? Can they come? Dawn Claricoats, no. Good ship lollipop, blaming the young is making me furious. It is me too. Because believe you me, further down the way, the older generations are going to get payback for this. Don't think so. Sadly, no. Charlotte Cox, no. Vicky, Tony Vaskanian, no, it's too many, no. See? And that's just one quick, simple, potential solution. 6 only. So our family bubble with Nanny Di in it is 5, if she's here. We're only allowed 1 other person to see us. Henrietta Henson, I bet it will be lifted for Christmas. Well, Lee Peart, our dear friend Lee, was saying yesterday that he thinks that potentially Boris has introduced this so that he can ride in on a white Charger, probably in the run-up to Christmas Eve, and go, it's all clear now, everyone's Christmas is on. Like a sort of bumbling Father Christmas. I think probably Lee's right. I remember Lee saying at one point earlier, actually, you know, no second wave can be the same. You're absolutely right. He was right. You know, if we're wearing masks, even if 10% of the population are observing social distancing, it can't be the same as it was before. And yet here we are, midway through September, still in an absolute mess with the whole thing, aren't we? So I'm worried that what's happening again, and someone made a fair point, that potentially they didn't introduce this law of six sooner because it had to be run through Parliament and legalised and made law and put on the statute books. But are we now, who thinks we're going to have scenes of absolute Gin Street hedonism this weekend? Who thinks we're going to have scenes like in a Hogarth painting of just complete and utter dereliction? Do we think people are going to go out on a great big huge bender this weekend? Do you think we're going to have huge parties? Scenes of hedonism? Gabrielle, Boris will lift the restrictions on Christmas Day as long as you eat in the pub. Yeah, I think Izzy posted something on her Insta stories yesterday saying something like, eat out, it's your fault. Something like that. But if you put on an exercise class, then they can. Just stick a Jane Fonda workout on. Oh, okay, so if we have a sort of informal workout, everyone can come. So we have to all come together. So basically, family gatherings have to happen with leg warmers and headbands. Sounds good to me. Organised chaos. Yep, I think it'll be chaos. Mahusive benders. I think there are going to be many protests against these restrictions. I didn't miss one, Tricia. No, I never have the telly on. I didn't watch this morning, I'm afraid. It will take place next year for no, I don't think they will. People will carry on as usual. Very true. Only meet your family friends where there's a till. Maybe we should get a till put at the front of the house. Our village pubs, 3 in total, are so much quieter. Now, the final story, I just wanted to gain your thoughts on, really. What do you think of the Harry Dunn story? It's tragically sad, isn't it? That, in a sense, you know, Harry Dunn's alleged killer was on the wrong side of the road for 20 seconds before fatal collision. What do you guys think should happen in that story? The Harry Dunn story. I do, every time I see his parents, my heart just goes out to them, and then I see the inability to sort of get justice or receive justice. You know, Harry Dunn is the boy who sadly was killed by the wife of an American personnel individual who was covered by diplomatic immunity. We sought to try and extradite her, but Trump wasn't having it. Tony Voscanian, the person should be punished. And I think, you know, it goes to the heart of kind of international diplomatic relations, doesn't it? When swap her for Prince Andrew, Rachel says. It's so sad, isn't it? Yeah, so you're told that basically you know that there's, and you know, I don't think it's about vengeance necessarily, but until you've walked in someone else's shoes, you don't know what the desire or the feeling for justice is. You know, it's easy when you don't feel that you've had to fight for justice, though we can all feel things are unjust, just how important that closure is. Face justice if one of us well, that's the big point, isn't it, Kirsty Moss? If it was the other way around, I'm sure the Americans would be yanking, no pun intended, the person over to the States within a heartbeat, wouldn't they? Trump handled the whole situation so terribly, awful for the family. Xander, we covered Harry Dunn on my show. We should have sent them Prince Andrew in exchange for Harry Dunn's killer. Very sad. She should face what she's done. I mean, I'd imagine that, you know, I was thinking about for the poor woman. I mean, you know, there's obviously Harry Dunn's side of it, but this will be torture, won't it, in some regard? I mean, imagine knowing what you've done and the fact that you sort of ran away from it. I'd imagine it will torture her for years, for the rest of her life in some strange way. And I'm not saying that's justice of any sort of form, but it's not going to sit easily, is it? I mean, obviously, she didn't set out to cause any havoc. Thank you, Tony Voscanian. You've done an amazing job on NADIA's Away. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been fine. I mean, I miss her. I miss her silliness. I miss our rapport. I miss being able to shut up sometimes and think while she's rabbiting away. I miss filming her silliness. It was nice for the vlog last night. Do check out the vlog last night. It was full of family and silliness, and me and the girls went sort of to an exhibition where we danced a lot. I'm going to try and get another one out today. I realise it's nice to have a fix of Nadia while she's not here. But thank you for making it so enjoyable and pleasant this week. Ellen Jones, I know I even miss her singing. I don't miss her singing. I really don't. I said that because I felt I should. I really don't miss her singing. I really don't. I mean, if there's one thing, bless her, I just don't. Miss One Tricia, Dr. Jenny Harries was saying that instead of people trying to work around rules, that if they follow restrictions, COVID cases will decrease, so everyone take personal responsibility. No, absolutely, I agree. I mean, I think it's just I don't know. I just think we're in a very dangerous time of the blame game and all that kind of stuff. Ashley Gardner, let's not talk about the Russians. It's Friday. We're going into the weekend. It's the rule of 6 from Monday. I think if we talk about the Russians too, Ashley, it could just tip us all over. So I'm thinking of, as soon as I turn this off, emigrating to the Shetland Islands and striving for independence. I fancy living like a Viking, hanging on a rocky bluff, looking at the puffins. That's what I want. I want to live with the puffins. Does anyone else want to live with the puffins? That's what I want to do. I want to live with the puffins. So, I haven't mentioned a single birthday, Nifak, so you haven't had to skip 30 seconds. So, there you go. All right, guys, hit the thumbs up if you like it. Check out our review of I Hate Susie, episodes 3 and 4 went up last night. Check the vlog for some silliness, fun, warmth, and genuine family authenticity. Bit of Lisa, bit of a photo shoot, bit of a sad mental marquee. Do check out, there's a couple of movie reviews went up. I think did a couple go up, or one went up for I'm Thinking of Ending This. Check that out. Dune trailer, lots of filmy stuff going on. And as ever, we love you. I love you. She loves you, wherever she is. And we'll speak to you later. Oh, Members Live. I'm probably going to do the Members Live tonight with Nanny Di, but I will put that on the members, community page. I'll notify you what time. So also, if you're not a member, become a member, and you can join in on our little Members Live tonight. There's a join button somewhere down there. All right, guys, lots of love. Speak to you later.